Get myself situated here, guys. We're live, by the way. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And guys, we are live from Bangkok, Thailand. I'm still here. Some of you guys know I got here early Monday morning. I am out here in Bangkok until, what, Saturday? Then I'll be moving on to Phuket. So just wanted to let you guys know that, because the time differences here then in the States are completely opposite. I don't even know if you guys are up yet, but I'm going to do this live stream before I go out to Chinatown. What I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk about this situation I saw with Canelo Alvarez, something that Max Kellerman said about if Canelo Alvarez does bad, you know, he's coming back, of course. I think Turki Al-Sheikha now said he will be returning to the ring sometime this year in September. And we talked about that a little bit in another live stream, and I talked about how I like the fact that Canelo Alvarez is coming back. I don't think that Canelo Alvarez is a wash fighter. I think Canelo Alvarez was just, outboxed by a better boxer in Terence Crawford. You guys know I picked Crawford to win the fight, and I picked Crawford based on his skill set. You guys know who watched the channel that I am very big on skill sets. And I picked Crawford to win despite a lot of people saying that I was crazy, that Canelo Alvarez was just going to run over Terence Crawford. I knew better than that. I know that skills pay the bills, and I know that size does not win fights. And I was proven right when Crawford got his hands raised. He put on a boxing clinic in that fight. Now, do I think, that makes Canelo Alvarez a bad fighter? No, I don't. I think Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter. I just think that, he lacks certain skills. I would say he's a skilled fighter, but he lacks certain things that, when it came to fighting Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is a complete fighter, and he was going to be hard to beat. And that was the point I was trying to make leading up to the fight. Now, the thing I liked about Canelo Alvarez, despite him being a great fighter, is even though he lost that fight, he took it like a man. He did not make any excuses. He gave Terence Crawford his props. We didn't hear anything coming from Canelo Alvarez personally about trying to add some sort of biasness to Crawford's win. Now, I can't say that for some of his fans. I can't say that for some of the media, because they've been going out of their way to diminish Terence Crawford's win. Even though, before the fight, he didn't stand a chance. Before the fight, he was too damn small. He was too light in the ass. But when he won the fight, then all the excuses started. You guys know that. You've been watching this play out for a minute now. That's what they did. Now, what I want to talk about is Max Kellerman. Let me read this. I saw this on social media. I didn't get to watch. I guess it was on his show or something like that. He said here, let me read it here. He said, if Canelo looks bad in his next fight, it could hurt Bud Crawford's legacy. People will say Crawford beat a past his prime Canelo. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. This is the type of stuff that really burns me up as a boxing fan. Here you have Max Kellerman saying that Canelo Alvarez, if he returns to the ring and looks bad, is bad for Crawford's legacy. Even though Crawford, going into that fight, was the older fighter. And I don't understand how that's bad for Crawford's legacy. Canelo Alvarez was the undisputed champion at 168. He had all the belts. He had all the gold. So how does him coming back and looking bad affect Crawford? Make that make sense, because it doesn't make any sense to me. And the only thing I can take from this is that, it's Crawford. They're still trying to bash Crawford's legacy. Even though the man's hung up his gloves, even though he's retired from the sport, it was a bittersweet moment, and they just can't let the man, have his day in the sun. It's absolutely ridiculous to me. And this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Diminishing great fighters who've done great things in the sport. There's not too many people that can say, they're a 5-division champion and a 3-time undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes. There's not. So why would they go out their way to do this? And it's typically the American media who does this to their own fighters. And I talked about that time and time again leading up to the fight, how, they were bashing Crawford. They were saying that he was on drugs. They were saying this, they were saying that. It was just all kind of shenanigans going on surrounding Crawford. But despite all that, despite all the obstacles thrown in his path, he was still able to do what he did. He got to the top. He rose to the pinnacle despite, the machine not being behind him. And I respect that 100%. Now, let me say this. Canelo Alvarez is coming back. And I'm not sure if he's going to stay at 168. I hear a lot of people saying if he stays at 168, he's going to go back to cherry picking. I don't know. He could do that. I don't know for sure. I think the 2 toughest fights for him at 168, in my opinion, would be Christian and Billy and maybe Lester Martinez. I think those are tough fights for Canelo Alvarez if he chooses to stay at 160. But I'm hoping that he chooses to go to 175 and fight 2 guys that, a lot of his fans and a lot of other boxing fans want to see him fight. They want to see the David Benavidez fight. They want to see the rematch with Dimitri Bivol. I think, Canelo would be back in a lot of people's good graces if he took those 2 opportunities. And those are opportunities that can lead him to becoming an undisputed champion in a second weight class. He's a 2-time undisputed champion at 168. He could be a 3-time undisputed champion if he's able to beat those guys. I think David Benavidez holds the WBC title, and I think Bivol holds the other 3 titles. So yeah, there's opportunity there. And I would say fight David Benavidez first, because honestly I think he has a better chance at beating Benavidez than he does Bivol right now. I think David Benavidez is going to be there to get hit, and it'll make it an easier time for Canelo Alvarez. Not saying that he'll win the fight, just saying I think he would have an easier time with that than he would with a mover like Bivol. We see Canelo Alvarez has those problems with movers, and that's something that he's going to have to work on as a fighter. So, but we'll see what happens with that. But I just think it's crazy that Canelo Alvarez looking bad is bad for a retired Terence Crawford. It just doesn't make any damn sense to me, and I just wanted to get that out. How you guys doing out there? Let's see. Lopez versus Shakur. To me, guys, that's a 50-50 fight. I did talk about it a little bit, not so much, but you guys know I'm big on pure boxing, and I know a lot of you guys don't like pure boxing. But I think, skill sets matter. I think skill sets pay the bills. I think if you're one of those fighters who's able to make adjustments, even though, you might not be gifted with power, you can win a fight. And that's, that's what I see. So I'm leaning more towards Shakur to win the fight. I do like Teofimo Lopez as a fighter. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. He has power in both hands. He's creative, and if Teofimo Lopez is on his A game, he's definitely hard to beat. I think it's going to be a chess match in that fight, because I don't think either one of those guys want to make a mistake. But I think this is going to be a great fight, in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to seeing that when I get back home. I love boxing, so do I. The sweet science, yes sir, that's what I'm talking about. But anyway, guys, I'm going to head out to Chinatown and do a little bit of shopping. But I just wanted to check in with you guys and let you guys know how everything's going here so far. Met a lot of nice people, and this is a great place, man. It's different than the United States. People. The thing I like about Thailand, the people here, they're extremely friendly, and it's easy. You know, they're very approachable, and people actually get out and do things together. And I think that's great, man. I think the U.S. can learn a lot from people here in Thailand. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about, guys. Let me get myself together so I can get out here in these streets. But thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And I'll be back with more content for you guys. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.